Hi Whovians, Harry here, and welcome to my review of the 6th episode of Season 1 of Doctor Who, the episode Rogue. And this episode is the first one to have a writing credit from co-writers Briony, Redman and Kate Harrington. And this episode was crazy. But before we get into that, don't forget to subscribe, but also leave a like and comment down below, and let's get in to the video. So, of course, spoiler warning if you haven't watched the episode Rogue yet. So if you haven't, go watch it, then come back to this video. So, the plot of Rogue really centres around these owl alien shapeshifters attempting just to basically have fun creating mischief at this ball, and then they plan on spreading their mischief throughout the world, and then Rogue, Jonathan Groff's character, is trying to stop them. He is a bounty hunter who has been sent to stop them, and he eventually teams up with the Doctor to stop them, and they kind of form a romance, the Doctor and Rogue, and then Ruby is left to... She is kind of left on her own to figure other things out, and she forms this friendship with this with Lady Emily, and throughout this, there's a wedding that the owl aliens want to just create chaos basically, and the Doctor and Rogue stop them, with Rogue sacrificing his life to stop the aliens as he gets banished to the same dimension with them, because the Doctor reconfigured the death machine that Rogue had to kill the owl aliens into a transporter, and Rogue sacrifices himself so that the owl aliens can be banished, and the Doctor and Ruby basically save the day with help from Rogue. And this episode was just crazy, and there are obviously lots of things I want to talk about. So, first off, the owl alien creatures. In the cold open, it is already established that the owl alien creatures are obviously evil, and they can kill people with, like, an electric kind of power to basically, exterminate the humans into skeletons. They become charred skeletons. So, that is really powerful. Just with one touch, they can turn into charred skeletons, and then they shapeshift into the people that they've killed. And we see this with with all the really high-class people in this episode, like the Duchess, played by Indira Varman, who of course played Susie Costello in the Torchwood episodes Everything Changes and They Keep Killing Susie, where she was kind of originally the second in command of Torchwood 2 until, of course, she turned evil in the first episode, Everything Changes. But in this episode, she is playing another evil character. She doesn't start out this way. She starts out as a normal human, of course, quite entitled, but you expect that from a high-class Duchess in the Bridgerton era. And eventually she does get taken over by an alien, killed, and then the alien is kind of cosplaying her, which they actually do mention in the episode, that these owl aliens are doing all this for fun. They're just cosplaying just to have fun, and then they will later cause chaos throughout the world. And the thing is, it's just a bit of fun with these aliens, because they are so, like, a lot of them, like, are over the top evil, like not so much that, you know, everything about them is evil, but they're so campy, so silly, but also they're quite menacing as well, with the little, like, owl twitch of the head, and the look in their eyes, and of course the electrical power when they char people, turning them into skeletons. So they are also silly and funny, but also menacing as well, which is such a good balance that Kate Harrington and Briony Redman just toe the line so well. that the aliens, as I said, can be funny but also menacing as well. However, unfortunately, the aliens aren't given too much to do. They are overshadowed by the Doctor and Ruby and Rogue. So let's talk about the Doctor and Ruby. Again, they do spend a little bit of time split apart, the Doctor teaming with Rogue and Ruby teaming with Lady Emily. And I don't like them being split up, because the best scenes are when the Doctor and Ruby are together. It's a lot better than Boom, 73 Yards, and Dot and Bubble, with the fact that Ruby and the Doctor are together, because they are together more than those 3 episodes. It seems like with episode 1, Space Babies, and episode 2, The Devil's Court, and now this episode, Rogue, that the Doctor and Ruby are more together. And I like that, because they are just, you can just see that they are having the time of their lives together. The Doctor and Ruby both loving being in Bridgerton era England. They love it. They name drop Bridgerton a handful of times, and it is just so great. It's just, again, is just amazing, the chemistry. And also we join them in the episode when they're already at this ball, and Ruby is like, how am I able to dance so well and fit in with all these people? And he goes, oh yeah, well, the sidekick, I think it's earrings that she has, allow her to dance perfectly, to just fit in. She can just do that anytime she likes. And that is so cool that they can it just again fits in so well, and they don't have to have all this hoopla of like trying to find a way to join in and not be looked at weirdly. And by having this piece of technology that just allows them to fit in well is just so good. And of course, they are having the time of their life together. They have many fun moments together, many moments laughing. There are also some moments towards the end of the episode where they are crying, but I will go over that when we get later into this episode. But of course, I mentioned another shining point in this episode was the titular Rogue, which is where this episode gets its name from. And Rogue is Jonathan Groff's character, and just the dynamic between him and the Doctor it's just so good, because they meet each other and they are having this kind of awkward banter kind of scene, where the Doctor is clearly not taking anything that Rogue does seriously, and Rogue seems really annoyed and frustrated. However, it's revealed when they go for a walk outside that Rogue was maybe more in control than the Doctor thought, because it has been revealed that Rogue has been sent to this ball because he knows that these owl shape-shifting aliens are, well, that they are here to, destroy people and infiltrate human society. And, of course, the Doctor comes along the charred body of the Duchess with Rogue, and Rogue thinks that the Doctor is the one that killed him and is one of these shape-shifting aliens. However, how stupid must you be to lead someone to the body that you killed? Because the Doctor literally points out the body to Rogue. So wouldn't you think that you wouldn't point out the body to Rogue, you'd try to lead it away? But Rogue thinks it's the Doctor, and then they have this scene in the spaceship where the Doctor manages to where Rogue manages to trap the Doctor, and they have this funny scene back and forth where the Doctor is messing with all his controls and saying how Rogue picked his name from Dungeons and Dragons because he sees the Dungeons and Dragons dice, and of course the Rogue in Dungeons and Dragons. And also then he keeps playing Rogue's music non-stop, and he's just having a fun time dancing to that music, and Rogue pressing the button to stop the music and him thinking it stops, and then the Doctor using his sonic to start it again, and Rogue ripping out this piece out of the wall to stop the music, and the Doctor again still starting the music. Is just so funny. And the banter between like the Doctor having his Rogue saying that the Doctor's ship is a shed, and the Doctor saying, what's wrong with it? I love it. And of course there's just so much banter. However, it then gets serious when Rogue says that he will kill the Doctor because he is a shape-shifting alien. And the Doctor's like, no, literally, trust me. Look at this piece of paper that says that I am Lord Doctor. Look at it. And again, this funny moment where it says, actually, in the psychic paper, you're hot. So the Doctor, again, his mind wandered when he says that instead of it being the Lord Doctor, it says that you're hot. And of course, the Doctor has been like many times, mustn't let my mind wander, and other times where people have been able to override the psychic paper because they either have psychic training or they have no imagination, or there's too big a lie that the Doctor, that the psychic paper just can't comply with the Doctor, or it needs like catching up with their new regeneration. But that's a funny scene until the Rogue is about to kill the Doctor, and the Doctor uses his psychic paper, flings it against the scanning technology that Rogue used to scan the Doctor, and it told him that he had other faces, and he just thought that was shapeshifting, and the Doctor flings it and goes, actually scan again, and we see all the Doctor's faces. We see the 14 other incarnations, as well as there's also, of course, the War Doctor in there. There is also the Fugitive Doctor in there, and I think there are 3 other faces that I just can't place. I might be tripping, but I thought one of them was Richard E. Grant, who played the Shalka Doctor in like the animated series back in 2003, just before the revival was revealed for New Who. But obviously this is playing into the fact that the Timeless Child, how the Doctor had incarnations before the first Doctor, and of course the Fugitive Doctor is one of these, and these other 3 carnations might be Timeless Child Doctors, or Doctors from expanded media that can't really fit into the canon of the show. But it is amazing how this reveal is dropped, and the Doctor going that he is a Lord of Time, and how he is not a shape-shifting alien. He can help Rogue find and defeat the shapeshifters, and Rogue, obviously knowing that this is true now, relents, and they follow the Doctor to his ship, the TARDIS, where Rogue just steps in, and the Doctor sings In a World of Pure Imagination, because Rogue was trying to say that his ship is a lot better because it looks like a massive hawk ship. It looks so cool, but seeing the inside of the Doctor ship, Rogue just says that he's in love with it, and the Doctor thinks at first that Rogue is saying in love with him, or maybe just putting that flirty banter in again, and Rogue reiterates that it is the ship that he is in love with. But again, the banter between them, the flirtiness between them is so great, because then in that ship they have a moment where they almost kiss. However, the Doctor has been reconfiguring Rogue's device to, instead of kill the owl aliens, transport them, and it's just so good. But in between this scene where the Doctor has gone to Rogue, Ruby has been talking with the Duchess, who is still the Duchess at that point in time, and she notices a painting on the wall of Susan Twist. That is right, this is the character's 7th appearance now in Doctor Who. It is just insane. Of course, she first appeared in as Miss Mariju in Wild Blue Yonder, the 2nd special of the 60th anniversary, and this time, of course, like in the episode Dot and Bubble, when both Ruby and the Doctor recognised Susan Twist as Penny Pepperbean, which was Lindy Pepperbean's mum, the protagonist of last episode. But again, she recognises that this painting that is supposed to be the Duke's mum, I think it was, she recognises again that this is Susan Twist. And it is revealed in the next time trailer that Susan Twist is going to be in the next episode, The Legend of Ruby Sunday, and that in her dreams she sees that she has been, of course, all these characters throughout this episode. So whether she's playing with the Doctor or whether that she actually does not know why she is scattered throughout this season, I guess we'll get a I guess we'll know why next episode. But again, Ruby spots her and recognises that this is Susan Twist, a person that has been following them throughout this whole series. And of course, talking of Ruby, I want to talk about the pairing that she has in this episode with Lady Emily. She spots this, lord that is kind of rude to her, that he says, like, you should be admired in silence, like, you should be silent while I admire you. And this is actually an owl alien, and she follows him when there's like a kind of tiny fight with him and Lady Emily. And he follows her through, and she accidentally bumps into some books whilst they are having a fight, and like also being really flirty as well. And he leaves, and she's like, "Oh, what do? I want to I thought this secret romance would be nice, but it's not." And Ruby tries to cheer her up, which shows how good a character Ruby is. She has like really a heart of gold sometimes, and she just tries to cheer her up because that's the type of person Ruby is. Ruby is a really good person, really kind, and she just tries to cheer her up, and they have this whole friendly like band throughout the whole episode, until it is revealed that Lady Emily is also a shape-shifting alien, and she's in this room with Ruby, and we hear the crackle of the electric when people die, and we think Ruby has been killed by electricity. And the reveal is so great. Again, it does drag on a bit too long. In this season, the reveals seem to just drag on a bit. But it's just so great. We really think that Ruby has been taken over by this, this owl alien, because she goes, "Oh, you are brave and incredible and rude, and you go on these adventures. I wish I could be you." And at that moment, you know she is an owl alien. And then she does change it into an owl alien. Again, it drags on a bit too long, but it is incredible. And you think she is died because we see Ruby walk in then with the owl alien, and you hear Ruby's like head do the like owl like click. And of course, it's just so amazing, and she seems to be getting married to this lord that was rude to her earlier in this episode, but he's in his owl form. And the Doctor and Rogue see that Ruby has been turned, and the Doctor can't handle it. He exits, and he's just like, "I promised I would keep her safe." And we flash to the scene in the trailer that was seen of Carla saying, "I need to know Ruby's safe," and the Doctor saying, "I will keep her safe." And he can't believe that he has, let one of his companions die again. And he is like, in Ruby's memory, I have to protect her. And he enters saying, "Stop this wedding." Have we got to that bit yet? And it just gives me so much David Tennant vibes of when he interrupted Sarah Jane's wedding in The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith from the Sarah Jane Adventures. And again, it's just so good. And he's like, "I've got this that will trap you." And all the owl aliens are laughing and thinking, "You have 1/3 of that device. You cannot trap us." And he was going, "Oh yeah, I wondered where I put the other devices." And Jonathan Groff's Rogue has already placed them there, froze the other bit there, and traps them. And then we get the chilling reveal that Ruby is still Ruby. She managed to defend herself with the book that we see from the trailers, and she literally, we see Lady Emily enter, and her beak is like smashed up against her face, and it's like, it looks a bit weird and silly, but again, that the force to do that, and Jonathan Groff's character just, because the owl aliens are like, "You attack the Doctor now, you can kill him," and Jonathan Groff's character like tackles her from behind, throws her into the transport machine, and goes, "Doctor, can you do this?" And he goes, "No." and they share a passionate kiss as, of course, Jonathan Groff manages to take the trigger from his hand. And you think he's going to send Ruby into other dimension with those owl aliens. However, he tackles Ruby out of the triangle transport thing and goes, "See you," and presses himself and sacrifices himself with all the aliens. It's just, again, it's just so good. And the tear you see in the Doctor's heart. Again, star performance again from Ncuti Gatwa. He is such a good Doctor. The hurt you see when he thinks Ruby is gone. The hurt when he knows that Ruby is still alive and he has basically sacrificed himself to banishment. The scene where Jonathan Groff's character sacrifices himself after they had just had an amazing moment together, and knowing that he can never see her again because, as the Doctor explains to Ruby right at the end of this, there are more dimensions in the multiverse than there are atoms in existence. So it's just so heartbreaking. And again, it gives me very Captain Jack Harkness vibes, the relationship between the Doctor and Rogue, especially from the Torchwood episode, Captain Jack Harkness, where he has a dance and a kiss with a man in an era where that is frowned upon. And of course, just the bait, because actually they did that to draw the owl aliens to them, so that they could trap them in this circuit triangle device. And Rogue had given the Doctor his ring, like, as a proposal for marriage, to trap the aliens into luring them, because they were just like, "Oh, this is so good. This cosplay is the best. If we cosplay as the Doctor and Rogue, people will notice us, because a man, like, proposing and dancing and kissing with another man in this era is just insane." And the Doctor has now had to live with the sacrifice of a love from this episode, and he realises he still has Rogue's ring, and he puts it on so he can remember Rogue, and maybe we'll see Rogue again in either season 2, maybe season 3. I don't know, it would just be amazing to see him again. But as you can guess, I am rambling again, but this episode was so great. The faces of all the past Doctors giving people a little crash course in there. The relationship between the Doctor and Ruby that we did get. The relationship between Ruby and the Lady Emily Owl alien, which is just shocking if it wasn't dragged on too long. The death of Ruby, the fake out death of Ruby, which is definitely shocking. Again, the two the 3 writers that are not the showrunners have both done fake out deaths. Moffat did a fake out Ruby death in Boom, and now Kate Harrington and Briony Redman have done a fake out Ruby death in Rogue. What is it? They just seem to want to kill Ruby off. But yeah, again, it's amazing. The owl aliens, even though they are overshadowed a bit, they are just so campy and fun and menacing. They are so good. It's like the slug aliens. You didn't expect them to be that menacing, and yet they are. But they are just, I think the best scenes from these owl aliens are when they are being fun and campy and just wanting to cosplay. And the Doctor and Rogue also do a cosplay of pretending to be lovers, and then they do actually become lovers, and it's just so cool. And yeah, again, it's just so cool. Again, I'm rambling a bit, but the relationship between Rogue and the Doctor in this episode is the highlight. Again, this episode is so good. I think I would give Rogue a 9 out of 10. I don't think it is as good as Boom, but it is, again, so good. Again, it's just really good episode. I didn't expect it to be this good, but I am just so hyped now for The Legend of Ruby Sunday, because that episode looks amazing. And before we end, I just want to say that it was such a nice thing for them that this episode is dedicated to the memory of William Russell, who played the first Doctor companion, Ian Chesterton, because he passed away this week. So it is so nice of them to dedicate this episode in memory to him, because, of course, being the first companion, he was one of the pivotal people that brought Doctor Who to life, and if it wasn't for him, I doubt that maybe we would have Doctor Who today. So again, rest in peace to William Russell. It was a really nice touch for them to include him put this episode into his memory. And again, it's such a good episode that I don't know, anyway, this episode was really great, and just let me know what you think of this episode down in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like. Also, subscribe and share it out, and I will see you in the next one.